So we're back for the finale of Nizi Project 2. The boys, it's final stage. And I didn't realize this episode came out 10 hours earlier than its normal time. And so this is going to come in a bit late for anyone who's like waiting for this review to drop right after. That ain't happening. But if you're on time, the same time that I usually upload, you'll probably get this a little bit early. And so a little bit consolation there if you're not really following. But anyways, so Haru's team won the last half of the final stage, and now for the second half of the competition for the final stage, they're going to be doing an original JYP song called Miracle. And basically it's some song that JYP made, and it's about gratitude. That's the very essence of it. And so let's just get right into it. The first team that we get to see up is Team Tomoya. So we're flipping the orders now. JYP, he was basically impressed with Tomoya's team here in practice at the start of their training. And then he started to get really hands-on. And I don't know if I have a bingo card for this. I should have probably checked that first. But I think I might. I'll maybe check it at the end. But here we have the team. They're worried about not having enough members to do the formations based on what they saw of their own practice compared to also what they were seeing from the other team doing the same song. And so they were thinking maybe they have to go back to working on the precision and the practice and the sync, and then I don't know. I was thinking maybe they should have changed choreo a bit, and I think they did. I think they did change the choreo, or it just came off completely different, just based purely on the vibe. But I was kind of worried because during these kind of montages they were doing of them practicing, it didn't really look in sync, and so I was kind of not expecting much during the performance. But it gets to the performance, and in the main part of their choreo, the sync was very good. And I think the only thing that threw me off here is that Yuhi's outfit with his kind of like no sleeves. It was the only thing that threw off the appearance of the sync in terms of the lines. But other than that, I think they did a good job. And the vocals, I didn't notice any issues with the vocals at all. Now, in terms of the song itself, this is the first time hearing it for me. And I'm not sure I dig it, to be honest. I'm not sure what to say about that, but those are my feelings about it. Now it gets to JYP and 3 Racha from the Stray Kids. And they're saying that the vibe they have here is better than what they had in their earlier performance. In fact, their performance was perfect. And so you have Bang Chan saying that Seita caught his eye, and he was looked like he was having fun, way more fun than he did in the first song. And then you got Han saying that Tomoya was visibly having fun as well, and Changbin was also impressed by his determination as leader. And so those are 3 Racha's opinions on the group and them individually. Now, in terms of what JYP had to say, JYP was basically saying, after recapping their weaknesses from earlier, he said they overcame everything, and that he got goosebumps, and they exceeded the level that he couldn't even imagine. And so, obviously, based on this feedback, it's basically what you would say a flawless performance because there was no negativity. And I think that they deserved it. And I felt, looking back on their first performance, I thought they won that one as well. And I didn't agree with the final choice. But we get to the next team, so Haru's team. And what we have here is JYP criticizing Yu doing his high notes, saying don't move your eyebrows too much. And JYP got really handsy with him, right? And even Ken got criticized for his singing as well. Now you get to dance training, and the trainer is saying they're not in sync, and for some reason they're dancing with some kind of restraint. And so they decide to start reinterpreting the song lyrics, and that's as far as they go. And for them, it's just about infusing the message into their performance. Now, if you remember from the last performance that they did, they kind of had a similar strategy, but they also had the same downfall, which is that they lacked a lot of precision and stuff like that, because they weren't practicing as hard. Of course, they had time to overcome it for the last one based on feedback, but I don't know if they got the same feedback or had time to apply the same feedback for this performance. But anyways, we get to their actual performance, and at the start I felt like they were going to do good. But then I started watching it, and I'm kind of worried for Maraku, and I feel like it's for reasons he can't control. Because right now, his body is just a different type from all the other guys, which are all kind of like taller and more kind of masculine sometimes. And so in this case, Maraku is also directly kind of competing with Eiji's silhouette as well. And Eiji is just a stronger figure than him. And so in this way, Eiji kind of cancels out Maraku. And in terms of this performance, the vocal overall, I felt it was just kind of plain, like everything was on the same level. And similar to the last performance, I would say this is like stable, but there were no high points in it. And it felt restrained, in my opinion. Now, Three Ratchet was watching them, and they said they looked too nervous and too stiff. Now, I didn't get that vibe from them, but they said that they seemed to have like more gaps in their performance, but they did praise them for having a more masculine vibe. And that was basically all they said. They didn't say much else. Now, when it came to JYP was saying, unlike the Tomoya's team, there were no cheers from any of them, and that they lacked synchronization. I didn't notice that personally, by the way. But then he started to give individual feedback saying, Haru, his singing was disappointing, but he had the best dancing. He said, in terms of Yu and Ken, their dance improved drastically, and I don't think he gave them any shade other than the collective shade that the whole group got for lacking synchronization. Then he said Eiji, he liked his dance the most, but then his expressions were underwhelming. And then when it came to Maraku, he said he still lacks strength and dance power, and he also avoided opportunity for high notes, which means that he's, in addition to whatever issues he can change, he's also holding back personally in terms of how he performs. And even just based on that feedback and comparing it to the earlier feedback, the winner should be Team Tomoya. That's what I was thinking. Just based on that, the winner is Team Tomoya, and that would tie the competition. And Team Tomoya did win, and it did tie the final stage. And then Nizi shows up, and they kind of perform this song. And that's basically it. They start deliberating on who the final members are going to be based on this. And so, if I were to guess, I would say all along, Maraku wouldn't make it. That's what I thought all along. I thought there were going to be 8 members. That was my feelings about it. But then they start announcing who's going to be in the top members. And he starts off with Tomoya. And there's a sidebar that shows up at some point after what's-his-face, Haru, is announced as the second member. And let me see if I can find this bar for you. Because this bar is kind of a dead giveaway of how many members there would be. Because if you can just, as an artist, I can kind of estimate proportions with my eyes. And as the names are going down on the side, on the left, there was a bar of names on the left side at some point. But I'm having trouble finding it right now. But there it is. And so, let me just shift this over a little bit. So as you can see, there's 2 here. You can fit 2 more here, and then 2 more here, and then 1 more. And so based on this UI design, it's the UI designer giving away that there's only going to be 7 members who will debut. And I felt this as soon as I saw it. I'm like, that UI says only 7 members are showing up. And so based on that, I had to start thinking who was going to be the last one that they wouldn't pick. And honestly, I wasn't sure. I thought it may be Ken and possibly Eiji and maybe Seita as a... It could be Seita, but I didn't want it to be Seita. As you know, for the past couple of episodes, I've been saying Seita is really stepping up. And so it wouldn't be fair to kick off Seita because he's actually living up to... but he's aspiring to do better, and he's actively trying to do better, and he has the drive that's very visible. But it turns out that every member made it except for Eiji and Maraku, and that was kind of surprising to me, because I always thought that Maraku would be kicked out because of Eiji, because they're so similar. But then I guess that because of Eiji's issues with expression, in terms of his face, which is kind of something you can't really change without really practicing hard. Uh, AG basically just wasn't able to express his in the right way. So, moving forward, I would say the most important thing for AG is to really work on his face expressions in terms of like every single emotion, every single dance move, because for him it's going to be really hard. And Maraku technically has the same issue because they have similar looks. But AG especially, he had the ongoing stoic look. Very like just his tight genetics. Really, it's just genetics. And so I kind of feel bad for him in that respect because I feel like he was a strong dancer, and I don't feel like he should have been kicked off. I feel like there should have been 8 members in the final group. But anyways, last final notes. When they are announced, Tomoya makes everyone start crying from the get-go. And I'm getting the feeling that camaraderie is a lot stronger and friendship is a lot stronger in this group than I've ever seen in a debut group, really. A lot of debut groups is kind of like individuals are kind of happy for themselves and a little bit happy for their teammates. And sad for their teammates as well. But in this one, it seemed like they really were kind of like brothers who are kind of who got really, really close in a way that I haven't really seen with. You don't see that with female groups, really. And then there's you, who didn't expect to debut at all, which I thought was kind of funny. And then that was basically it. Ken getting 4th place and being kind of JYP's favorite. He kind of replaced AG as the favorite in that respect. But when you think about it, AG was kind of like reminded him of Rain, whereas Ken reminds him of himself, maybe. I don't know. Just being presumptuous there. I don't really know. But anyways, yeah. Overall, the 7 is pretty strong, and maybe he did a good thing by keeping it a smaller group. But I don't think it would have hurt to have AG in there. But at the same time, maybe AG won't have the draw that the other members will have. But then, if I said that about AG, I could say the same thing about Ken. And so, I don't know. It seemed kind of like, I feel like Ken and AG kind of on the same level. And in that respect, I feel like AG shouldn't have been dropped so easily. I'm kind of worried about him. Hopefully he continues to work hard and find a way to debut because he's very talented. And really his problem's not that hard to overcome, I think. If you really just like... He has to work on it himself. It's his own kind of puzzle to solve. This puzzle of his face. But anyways, I guess that's it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comment box down below. Also, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and then I'll see you in the next video.